Good morning. Just had a look at all the stats and realized this is probably the highest that we will see the water. It's been slightly higher yesterday. There it left a mark for us, and we'll mark that and compare it to the water level at Uppington. Actually at Priska and Groblershoop, because at Uppington they're not giving us numbers anymore. But it looks like it's now dropping and dropping very fast. And the problem with the water levels dropping very fast, even faster than it had risen, is that these pumps needs to be moved out as the water drops step by step. One of the things with the water level dropping so fast is that while Ograbies usually gives you a window of about a week or 2 weeks on the rise and a week or 2 weeks on the drop, of viewing it at that spectacular point where you see that mass of water. This is not going to be the case here. You're going to have a window of about 2 to 3 days to see it at that level, and that's going to be faster than I thought. And I'm not sure yet. I'll be trying to see the numbers, but it looks like it will be from tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, around that time roughly. So it's going to be difficult to catch it at that sweet spot. But it's one thing to miss Ograbies, but it's a very good thing that the dam levels have dropped down. Let's just have a look at the flow figures for a moment. Let's have a look at what the situation that the dams are. The Vaal Dam, first of all, the green line here is the level. It's roughly 100%. The in and out flows are about the same and low. Bloemhof Dam, same situation, about 100%, slightly under 100, no, about 100%. And in and out flows very low. Gariep Dam, it's recovering nicely. Within about 3 days from now, we're at the 26 now, so it's within about 3 days from now it will be at 100%. And then Van der Kloof is the one with the most water at the moment, but rapidly dropping. It's around 108% and forecast to drop. If we look then at the lower orange levels, we see that Katlani, and let's just look, this is Douglas where the Orange and the Vaal rivers meet. Katlani is here, then Priska, Boegeberg, Uppington, Neus, Ograbies, and this is where I am, just below Pella. So at Katlani, the flow has dropped down to 2,000, about half of what it was at peak. Priska is also close to that. Neusberg below Uppington is at 3,400. That's very close to Ograbies. So Ograbies should reach the point either today or tomorrow where you can actually go and see the falls, the forward viewing points on the falls, on the main falls. And then at Blowpits 38, which we know is a bit optimistic. So by tomorrow, we will have seen a drop of around 1 meter. Keep in mind that we're still early in the season, and if we look at the catchment area, we can actually see that more rain is still falling. Quick look at some places in the area, Bethlehem, Harrismith, Vrede, Mafeking. There's still more rains to come. Thunderstorms, yesterday I got some footage of thunderstorms in the Johannesburg, Pretoria area. And it looks like we will still get, but you have to look at the total rainfall. And in this case, it looks like the East Coast is going to get a lot more. but it doesn't look too serious. So taking into account the levels of the dams and the current rainfall forecast, I think we're basically out of the flood for now. A couple of years ago I made a video talking about the origin of dates in South Africa, and it's quite an interesting story, and I got it slightly wrong when I did the video I think it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. The first dates grown in South Africa were grown at Pella and Henkries, and those first palm trees came from the rations of British soldiers that were stationed there. Now, the information that I had, and I'm not sure exactly where I got it, I read a lot of it in books that was lying around on the farm, and a lot of it is tied into the history of the community at Pella, which is about 40 kilometers to the east. Now, what I understood to be, and I think that, and what I understand now that it's wrong, is that the first trees here were trees from the rations of British soldiers that were garrisoned at Pella during the First World War. Now, there were soldiers there during the First World War, but what I understand now is that the date trees predate that, and is actually from Boer War time, when Pella was a concentration camp. Now, it was not a concentration camp like Auschwitz or anything, but it was a concentration camp, and the soldiers there had in their rations dates. The seeds fell. Pella is an oasis. Nature happens and trees grow. Now, what is important to note, to know about dates, is that you don't get, with dates you get a male tree and a female tree. And all the trees that you see here are female. They have female bunches with fruit on them. But you don't get fruit unless you have male trees as well. Although some people think that life can exist. Let's not go there. And if you have male and female trees that are different trees, every time you get a fruit with a seed, you get a hybrid. So the seeds that fell in Pella and grew were hybrid fruit. In other words, you get just about any color or length or size of fruit or kind of tree. Attempts were made by the previous owner of this farm to farm with the dates. We went to Pella, we cut some offshoots off the trees and planted them, got big trees, and then tried to farm with them, but that was not successful. Now, to show you what an offshoot is, this is an offshoot. You cut that from the mother plant, you can plant it out, and if you take a root, it will grow and it will be a date tree that is genetically exactly identical to the mother plant. Of course, you get what's it called, deviations, but so the trees that we have here is not from the offshoots from the original Pella trees. These trees are Medjool trees. And Medjool, the origin of Medjool is from Morocco originally, and it's called the royal Medjool because all the Medjool trees belong to the Moroccan royal family. But a disease in Morocco started killing off all the trees. 11 trees, as I understand it, were gifted to America. Those 11 trees that were disease free were the only Medjools to survive that disease. And all the Medjool that is currently farmed in the world are descendants from those 11 trees. The previous owner of this farm went to America. He went there, he cut off offshoots, prepared them, brought them to South Africa. He went through a quarantine period of 2 years. The 4,000 offshoots that he brought in, of those only 770 survived. And they were planted here, and then offshoots from them again were used to make more trees. Anyways, that's the history of both dates in South Africa. And it's not only in Pella, there were also some of those original seeds planted and grown in Hincries, which is about 100 km to the west of Pella. But dates in general in South Africa are of, that's their history, and then also the history of Medjool. Anyways, see you on the next one. Cheers.